Next year's Formula One championship could be one of the most unpredictable in recent times. The new regulations risk reshuffling the order on track, and for this reason, it will be crucial not to be caught unprepared. Ferrari knows this well. Amid talk of an unconvincing engine and continued buzz around Lewis Hamilton, the Maranello team hopes that 2026 can mark the year of definitive rebirth. After a 2024 season that ended on a high and narrowly missing the constructors' title, Ferrari entered this season with all the predictions in its favor. The SF24 had sparked the dreams of fans who hoped that the arrival of the seven-time Formula One world champion would close the remaining gap to McLaren. However, the first 5 races of the year revealed a series of issues with the SF25 that make it anything but the best car on the grid. The Ferrari engineers and technicians decided to significantly change the previous project. The result is a car, now in the hands of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, that has not yet been fully understood by the Maranello technicians, who are working to extract the maximum performance from the SF25. The 2026 Formula One Championship is just around the corner for Ferrari as well. Time is a universal constant and cannot be altered. However, the perception of the period dividing motorsport's most important category from its biggest revolution in history is quite accelerated, and it could not be otherwise, especially if we think about the continuous meetings to correct the regulatory framework, the latest of which took place a few days ago. Several topics were discussed in the meeting between the F1 Commission and the other parties involved. Among the various issues, the most important one remains the fate of the new generation power units. The FIA technical group proposed a plan. They discussed a possible variable regarding the energy released by the two components, internal combustion and hybrid. The idea was to lower the electric power contribution over a distance of 300 kilometers. Essentially, the idea was to lower the MGU-K motor generator support from 350 kilowatts to 200 kilowatts. The ratio could change from 50-50 to 65-35, according to the draft. This solution was rejected outright as Mercedes strongly opposed it. The Brackley team seems to have built an extraordinary power unit. This was directly confirmed to our editorial team a few days ago, thanks to a member of a team in a crucial role. We can also add more details about another team, but we will get to that shortly. Before doing so, let's recall a fact related to the simulations carried out by teams on the 2026 power units. We will do this through Danisma, Ferrari's partner. The Maranello team uses Danisma's products in simulations, a company located in the British countryside. Through a recent study of the virtual model, the situation was assessed by applying a virtual copy of the 2026 chassis. The same was done for the aerodynamic paradigm and the new tires, still with 18-inch rims but narrower tread widths. Obviously, the last decisive element was the power unit. In this regard, Englishman Gary Paffett, McLaren and Williams test driver responsible for this test, expressed enthusiasm about the conducted test as the results from the Bahrain track exceeded even the most optimistic expectations. Essentially, he confirmed the FIA's feedback, eliminating the excessive negativity surrounding the 2026 power units. Meanwhile, rumors continue about what Ferrari's level might be in 2026, amid innovative regulations and an engine that continues to divide opinions. Just a few days ago came the decision not to change the power unit regulations for next year, after discussions around the possibility of reintroducing V10 engines. First of all, a clarification must be made. Regardless of what may happen, where the technical parameters to make the difference will be different, each manufacturer will have confirmation of the quality of the other power units only on the track during the official preseason testing session next February, before the 2026 Formula One Championship starts. Beyond this reasoning, a few words should be said about Ferrari. First of all, there have been zero comments to the press from the Maranello team. A silence that some view negatively. In our view, it is quite the opposite, as the Italian power unit project is quite aggressive and ambitious. It could not be any other way if they are to make the much-anticipated difference. According to the information gathered by various Italian news media outlets in recent weeks, the Ferrari program has confirmed and even surpassed expectations. There is considerable satisfaction and everything is going smoothly. No delays or problems, in short. The rumors of a struggling Ferrari are, in the most categorical way, absolutely false. We were firmly reassured of this before the race weekend in Miami. Of course, this does not mean that Ferrari will have a super engine that will crush the competition. However, the Italian team does not fear Mercedes, and the goal is to stay ahead of them. In this regard, we recall a funny anecdote to support what has been said. One of the reasons that convinced Lewis Hamilton to join the Italian team during the negotiation to move to Maranello was the excellent impression of the 2026 Formula One project, the world championship on which the Briton places a lot of hope. A scenario already seen when he left McLaren in 2012, as the British driver was convinced by Mercedes' engine advantage a year before the turbo hybrid era. Therefore, there should not be any significant delay compared to Mercedes, contrary to what was suggested a few weeks ago. Of course, to get confirmation, all that can be done is to wait for the tests that will kick off the new era of F1, an era Ferrari fans hope will finally mark a return to success. It is the end of April and there is still no clarity on the agile single-seaters that will have to race next year. Mercedes has opposed the FIA's proposal, supported by Racing Bull powertrains, to modify the power regime during races by reducing electric availability by 150 kilowatt, which is the equivalent of over 200 horsepower, from the intended 350 kilowatt, which is 3 times the amount currently available in today's ground-effect F1 cars. Mercedes' opposition will guide the Engine Commission, that will have the task of potentially rewriting the regulations to be changed. There seems to be greater agreement on the idea of not freezing the 2026 power units, allowing manufacturers that are behind to work on performance as well, while the regulations would only allow interventions aimed at reliability. The intention would not be to grant development tokens as was done in the past, but to allow interventions within an agreed amount added to the budget cap, expanding test bench hours. Each manufacturer keeps its power unit highly secret, avoiding any information leaks in the paddock, but it is becoming increasingly clear that there are still problems to solve and that not everyone is moving in the same direction, whether it be on the internal combustion engine, the hybrid system, or the new transmission that will have to connect the MGU-K with the turbocharged 6-cylinder. Adrian Newey, partner and technical director of Aston Martin, had predicted that the 2026 championship risked being decided by who will have the best engine and the most efficient battery, considering that everything possible has been done to make aerodynamics less decisive. The new motor generator will have to be housed in the chassis for safety reasons, since it will work with high voltage. It must have a minimum weight of 16 kilograms and will be able to operate at 60,000 revolutions per minute, which is 10,000 more than today. This is very interesting because the electric motor will have to be coupled to the turbocharged 6-cylinder, capable of 11,000 revolutions per minute during gear changes. Some have found an excellent solution to optimize the 350 kilowatt kick that will reach the drive shaft when hybrid power is activated, while others are still struggling with a torque splitter that often breaks on the test bench. There is suspicion that among the reasons pushing the FIA to reduce power by 150 kilowatt in races is also the opportunity to allow manufacturers to put less stress on the transmission without a clutch, but requiring a specific cooling system, and extend the life of an element that did not previously exist. Ferrari, for example, on the SF25 single-seater, maintains a complicated planetary gear system that has never caused serious problems, while from 2026 engine manufacturers will have to deal with a coupler that is an entirely new component. It will therefore be very interesting to see who will have the best solution.